Hey everyone, and welcome to today's Explainer. I am so incredibly excited to share this one with you. Today, we're actually stepping away from the heavy data and complex charts, and we're looking at something just purely beautiful. We're going to explore this heartwarming story that comes straight out of a really peaceful village tucked away in the stunning mountains of Arunachal Pradesh. It's all about a little girl named Ruth, her family, and, those invisible threads that connect us all. It's a simple story on the surface, but as we unpack it today, you'll see it packs a massively powerful message about human connection.
So I want you to really ponder this for a second. How far can love actually travel? Does it just stop at the city limits? Does it kind of fade out when it hits a massive mountain range? Or, hey, does it need a Wi-Fi signal to survive? We're skipping the standard agenda today, because this explainer is much more of an emotional journey. We're setting out to answer that exact question, entirely through the eyes of a child.
Section 1. Morning in the Mountains. A peaceful village in Arunachal Pradesh.
All right, so picture this. The sun is just starting to rise, and it's painting the sky with these absolutely brilliant colors, right behind those majestic mountain peaks. You can practically hear the birds singing their morning songs, and down in the valley, there's this small, cozy little wooden house completely surrounded by bright, blooming flowers. Right at the center of this home is our main character, Ruth. And guys, she is only 3 years old. Just 3. Now, when you're 3, the world is massive, and it can definitely be a little overwhelming. But despite being so young, Ruth wakes up every single morning with a heart that is literally bursting with love. Her absolute first order of business? Sprinting over to her mom for the biggest, tightest hug she can possibly give, instantly becoming her mom's little sunshine.
Okay, let's move into section 2. Little helper, big heart. Ruth's daily chores.
You see, Ruth isn't just lounging around playing games all day. This tiny toddler is actually out there actively helping out around the house. It's honestly fascinating to watch a 3-year-old try to tackle adult responsibilities with just so much pure enthusiasm. Let's walk through how she helps her mom out. First off, step 1, she starts by sweeping the floor. And just imagine this, the tiny broom she insists on using is practically bigger than she is. Step 2, she helps carry the veggies for their daily meals. Then, step 3, she grabs her little watering can and super carefully waters all those gorgeous flowers around the house. And finally, step 4, she dutifully puts every single one of her toys away. It just adds this incredible, lighthearted warmth to the whole story, you know? It really shows how eager she is to just dive in and be a good helper.
But even with all this warmth and buzzing activity, there's a pretty noticeable absence. Ruth stops what she's doing. She looks over at a photograph in the house, holds it super close, and asks, "Mommy, where Daddy?" She just hugs that photo so tightly, innocently wondering if he's going to walk through the door today. And her mom just gently kisses her forehead, having to break the news that, well, not today, sweetheart. Not today.
Which brings us to section 3, the challenge of distance, working far away.
So Ruth's dad isn't exactly clocking in at some typical office right down the street. He is stationed way, way out there in a drastically different environment. We're looking at this really intense contrast here. On one side, you've got this warm, cozy, flower-filled house that's just buzzing with the love between Ruth and her mom. But then, on the flip side, you have this incredibly cold, remote, and super steep mountain work site where her dad is totally isolated. It's rugged. I mean, the distance between these two completely different worlds isn't just measured in miles, it's measured in the massive physical differences of where they are.
And because he's out in that extreme, steep environment, her dad runs into a very modern and honestly, very frustrating obstacle. He pulls out his phone, just desperately wanting to hear his family's voice, and bam! He gets hit with those 2 dreaded words, no network. I think we've all been there, right? You can totally relate to that universal, annoying feeling of staring at your phone, really needing to connect with someone you love, and seeing absolutely 0 bars. It's the worst. So all he can really do is stare at a saved photo of little Ruth, wishing he could actually talk to her.
Moving on to section 4, a fading signal, waiting for Daddy's call.
So that bright sunny morning we talked about is completely shifted into night now. The whole vibe is a lot moodier. Outside that little wooden house, the rain is just coming down steadily. Inside, Ruth and her mom are sitting super quietly in the dim light. And let me just ask you this directly. Have you ever waited around for a call from someone you love? I want you to really think about what that feels like. That heavy, agonizing anticipation where every single passing minute feels like an entire hour. The tension in that room is so palpable as Ruth looks up and asks, "Daddy call?" Her mom tells her they just need to wait a little bit longer. And then, out of nowhere, the silence totally breaks. The phone rings.
And the excitement just absolutely explodes. Ruth starts clapping her hands in pure joy.
Let's break down this amazing little conversation. Daddy calls her his little princess, and Ruth, of course, instantly launches into her full daily report. "Yes, I help Mommy," she yells into the phone. She's so incredibly proud to tell him all about watering the flowers with her little can. And man, even through that really spotty, crackling connection, you can just hear the absolute pride in her dad's voice as he tells her exactly how proud he is of his little helper.
But like we saw earlier, that connection way up in the remote mountains is incredibly fragile. The signal starts to fade out. Her dad quickly rushes to get out the absolute most important words he can possibly say. "I love you, Ruth." And just like that, the call disconnects. The signal is totally gone. Technology has completely failed them in this moment. But I really want you to witness Ruth's incredibly tender, resilient reaction here, because she doesn't throw a tantrum. Not at all. She simply accepts that the signal dropped, brings that phone right up to her face, kisses the screen, and whispers, "Good night, Daddy." It is just such a brilliant illustration of how love persists, completely unbothered by a technological glitch.
All right, Section 5. Love brings us home. The long wait ends.
So, the rain eventually clears out, the days pass by, and we're going to fast forward a few weeks into the future here. It has been a seriously agonizing emotional journey, right? I mean, starting with that bright morning of helping Mommy, then shifting into that rainy, anxious night waiting by the phone, and then stretching out across weeks and weeks of separation. But finally, we are hitting the end of this timeline. A vehicle suddenly pulls up outside the house while Ruth is out playing in the yard. She stops right in her tracks. She looks over, and she spots a very, very familiar face.
"Daddy!" she screams, and she just bolts, running absolutely as fast as her little legs can carry her all the way across that yard. Her dad drops right down to his knees, throws his arms wide open, and Ruth jumps straight into his embrace while he shouts, "My little helper." I mean, the absolute, undeniable joy of that reunion is definitely the peak of our whole story today.
And that beautiful moment brings us right to this incredibly peaceful close. Her mom walks over and joins in on the hug. The massive distance between them has finally been conquered. And as the day winds down, this reunited family just sits close together, taking in a gorgeous sunset over those sweeping, beautiful mountains of Arunachal Pradesh.
So, what does this all mean? The absolute crucial point here, the big takeaway from our source text, is simply this. Love travels farther than any distance, even to the absolute most remote mountains on Earth. Little Ruth learned, and honestly, she taught all of us, that miles literally mean nothing when you put in the effort. Helping her mom, holding tightly onto the memory of her dad, and just loving fiercely, all of that made her family's bond stronger every single day, completely regardless of the geography separating them.
Which leaves me with one final, really important question for you to take away from this explainer today. Even when you are miles apart from the people you care about, what small actions keep your family bonds unbreakable? Is it shooting over a quick text, bringing up a shared memory, or hey, maybe even just kissing a disconnected phone screen? I want you to really think about your own relationships and how you can make sure that love travels the distance. Thanks so much for hanging out with me to explore Ruth's amazing story today. Keep learning, keep loving, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.